Hello, trading has closed on October 23rd, 2025. As always, we'll start with our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls and then make our prediction. This is my trading plan for tomorrow, which is Friday, October 24th, 2025. As always, I can be wrong. I can change my plan. And in fact, I'm going to change my long-term plan today and trade at your own risk. Also, overnight futures haven't opened yet. The CPI report is supposed to come out tomorrow. I don't know how the government shutdown is going to influence that, but just be aware that could change things. Well, I know a lot of people didn't get my last video. I lost internet and didn't have it until I got up early this morning, so I recorded this. I said everything was playing out according to plan, and all we had to do was undercut Wednesday's low to get things started on the downside. Of course, that never happened. We did look for higher prices, and we got higher prices. We had a target of 67.33.41. I thought it might not print, but it did print, and there was a significant support resistance level. We have a new target from today's patterns, 67.29.98, and unless we gap down smartly, that's my call. Unless we gap up smartly, that's my call for tomorrow. Well, during the day, MEJT said this drop was a false move, wouldn't stick, so this rally was a false move, wouldn't stick. Now it says this rally is a false move, won't stick, and gives us the target. Let's see what the action yesterday and today did to the DeMark accounts. Well, here's bar 13 for real on the sequential daily. If you're going to have a real collapse, we've had a number of patterns totally compatible with a collapse. You should really see a sharp move down in the first 3 days. That's not it. That's information we didn't have 3 days ago. So I'm not certain we're going to get this big drop. Doesn't mean you won't drop, doesn't mean you won't drop tomorrow, but we were looking for something compatible with hundreds of points, and that's not what should happen. I should be happy that the number printed. In fact, I have to change my plan because it printed. The only things missing for a top here was a reversal and a failed target left to the high. We just haven't gotten the reversal, and now we don't have the failed target left at the high. We've had any number of times when all we needed for a drop to start was for support to break. Earlier this month we had this huge drop. We said all we have to do is get confirmation if the trade under the close, and we never did. Now this is my long-term weekly target, 69.97.87, Fibonacci target of this. Let's switch from this weekly chart to a daily chart, and let's see what happens if wave 2 ends up here instead of here. Doesn't break any rules. I mean, we had this as the end of wave 2, but this could be ABC for 2. It could be AB, ABC for C. I mean, C can end here. Doesn't change anything. What if we're still in wave 3? What if wave 2 ended here and we're still in wave 3? Well, if you take wave 1, set at 61.8%, you'll see that if wave 3 is where we still are, you hit the target on the nose. So if we do rally from here, you can certainly explain it. If we don't break down If we don't, we're still in wave 3 and we're still headed towards my target. Friday's pattern has the early low regardless of where we open. The CPI report's due to come out before the open. I don't know how the shutdown's going to affect this. I just can't predict the response to major economic reports with a sufficient degree of accuracy. Now we have a lower MEJT target. Unless we gap up smartly, the rules call for it to print, and that's my call. For much of October, practically all the elements necessary for a big drop were there. Signals from DeMark, Caroline, Elliott, and the calendar all were aligned. The plan was not to try to call the exact high, but to wait for a reversal. That was the one missing element, and then jump on the train down. Winsky yesterday, the major change in trend based on astrology, a totally different methodology, and that really should have been the final piece in the puzzle. Everything was lined up, and all we had to do was keep dropping, and that didn't happen. Instead, support repeatedly held and the reversal never came. Sentiment figures came out today from the American Association of Individual Investors, and they've given a buy. There are too few bullish individuals at this point, which means if we rally, they're going to have to hurry to get long. And that buy signal, it isn't a pinpoint buy signal. It doesn't mean we have to go up tomorrow. It's a sentiment indicator, and sentiment indicators are kind of general, but that's a pretty reliable indicator. Even if it doesn't tell us what happens tomorrow, it tells us what happens pretty soon, and that goes along with the VIX Bollinger Band reversal buy signal. Beginning next week starts one of the year's most bullish weeks and most bullish 2 to 3 month period. We now are in a position where a significant break to a new all-time high would kill the major bear signals. And when these signals fail, they fail in grand style. They might not even stop at my 7,000 area. They may go higher than that. When you've got really major signals, any signal when it fails big. It doesn't fail by a huge amount. Now they could still work. Until we break out to a new all-time high, we can gap down 200 points tomorrow when they all work. There's nothing ruling that out. But we've had all kinds of opportunities to break lower. It never came, and we're now getting sentiment figures indicating, plus the calendar, we're near the most bullish time of the year. Sentiment indicators plus the calendar indicating that that threatened drop just isn't going to come. Nothing's for certain till we break out to a new all-time high, but sentiment indicators are saying we will, and if we do break out to a new all-time high, we might not even stop at my 7,000 price target. Now, nothing's for certain. Till we break out, we can gap down 200 points tomorrow, as I said, I don't know. But the situation's changed. Rather than waiting for the reversal, so it would be okay to go short, I'm waiting to see if we break out. With a good chance we're going to go long, and probably very long. All we need to do is break out and we're darn close. It's the pattern. That doesn't mean we go up tomorrow. Still have a lower target for tomorrow. So it's the pattern tomorrow with the early low, and that's today's call.